Okay, this is going to be a video about setting up a chameleon cage. This is for a Jackson chameleon, a female Jackson chameleon. And this is probably the smallest cage that you'll use for any chameleon. And a female Jackson chameleon is going to be fine in there. They don't get very big. That's a cage. It's about 16 by 16 by 32 inches tall. And that's a decent cage for Jackson chameleon, a female especially. They're pretty small. So I'm making these videos first of all because I want to let everybody who's interested in raising chameleons know that there's a lot of myths out there as far as how difficult it is to keep chameleons. Okay, it sounds very complicated to most people. I was talking to a pet shop owner a couple of weeks ago, and he had a Jackson chameleon in his shop for like 3 months. It was a beautiful baby Jackson chameleon, and I asked him how come nobody bought it, and he said everybody was afraid to buy them. They thought they were too complicated, and that's not true. And they make great pets. So I'm going to do some videos here and show you how easy it is to take care of chameleons. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start with is a cage setup. So if you're going to get a chameleon, you need to have a cage ready for it. And this is a good cage to start with. If it's a different kind of chameleon, or even maybe a male Jackson chameleon, you're going to want a bigger cage. Okay, the bigger the better for chameleons. They like a lot of space, and even when they're in big cages, they always want to get out and explore. So if you have a chameleon that's doing that, that's always trying to get out of his cage every time you go near it, I'm finding that's normal behavior. They just want to get out and roam around. Okay, it's not so much that they don't like their environment that you've set up in there, although you want to make sure that it's good, that you've got the temperature right, and moisture and humidity and water and all that stuff. But if you've got that all going on and they're still trying to get out when you come near the cage, they're just curious creatures. They want out, they want to explore. So you could set up sticks outside the cages for them too. But let's start with this cage. So you might notice that I have a white cardboard in the back. It's not cardboard, some kind of plastic. Okay, I put that in the back, and sometimes I do that on the edges too. And the reason I do that is chameleons, when they see, especially if you're near a window and they see outside, they get obsessed with trying to get outside. So I block off anything that can see outside a window for sure. And then if you have them next to another chameleon cage, you're going to want to cover the sides, because when they see each other, they just can't stop getting excited and basically stressing themselves out, flaring their colors. They're just territorial animals. The females not so much, but the males, I have a veiled chameleon and a panther chameleon, and they know that they're next to each other, even though I blocked off their screens. The veiled chameleon just can't wait to get out and go over there. He knows the panther chameleon's next door, even though I blocked him off. He remembers. All right, so that's why I have that in the back. I started by hanging some plants in there. The best way I've found to do that is some fishing line. Just go through the top here, put some fishing line on there, and tie it off. Okay, that holds your plants in there real well. Okay. Another method is I drilled holes in here once and tried that. I even poked a hole in the screen before I discovered, fishing line was really the way to go. But I use some fake plants, and then I always have at least one live plant. So this is my umbrella plant. It looks pretty pathetic, and the reason is it used to look really nice and healthy, but I went on a camping trip and I threw a bunch of wild grasshoppers in that cage to keep that chameleon fed while we were gone, and those grasshoppers ate the hell out of that umbrella plant. It'll grow back. I got a light in there, a UV light, so it'll grow back. All right, so I might get a better one to put in there, but always have some kind of plant. The reason I have the rocks here is I don't want my chameleons getting near the dirt, because they eat the dirt for some reason. If you got fertilizer in there or something like that, they might eat that and get sick. So the rocks are just a precaution. You don't really need them, I don't think. In fact, I've taken them out of my other cages because they're too heavy, and they're just hard to manage. But they do keep the chameleons off the soil, so if you find that's a problem that your chameleon's eating the soil, you can try rocks. My other two chameleons don't seem to be eating the soil, so I took the rocks out. I also have a mister in here, okay? So that's optional. I have a misting machine in there, and I can hook up a lot of different cages to it. They need moisture. You do need the mist. If you don't have a mister in, my misters are on timers, but if you don't do that, you just need to have a hand mister available and mist their cages a couple times a day. That's what I used to do. But now I go on trips sometimes, and I don't want to have to rely on somebody to come over and do that. So I got the automatic misters. Okay. All right. So I got the plant in there, and I got some fake plants going on too. And then you definitely want to have some driftwood going on, so things that they can crawl on. So I have this stuff here. This was in the cage before, and I'd already gotten it wrapped around there, so I can get it in here and just create an area for them to crawl on. Alright, so yeah, I think I had that hanging there. These bottom parts, they unlock a little bit, so it's easier to get things in there. Alright, so this is what I had going on. Okay, so you can get this stuff at pet shops. It's a vine, a fake vine material that you can wrap around. It's great. Okay, it holds water a little bit, so if you're dripping water on that, the chameleons will find it and drink from it. The mister will help with that. They'll catch bits of droplets of water. So that's a basic setup right there. I'm going to add a few more things to it. Okay, I got a few more sticks here. You want sticks in different sizes, so your chameleon has a variety of things to grab onto and get exercise and a little variety in there. So, and these sticks, you can just press them against the side there, wind them around, get them so that they'll hold the weight of a chameleon. And this one here, just put it next to something she can get on. This is her bathing stick, where she can get up near the lights. Okay, so keep that in there, just like that. Okay, so I got a little more stuff here, but I think we're okay with that. That's a pretty good setup right there for a Jackson Chameleon, a female Jackson Chameleon. So we'll cut to when I get it in the room, and we'll put her in there. Okay, so here is the female Jackson Chameleon's enclosure. We've got that under the lights now, so I have a UV light there and a heat light. Okay, so and there's some different layers of heat here, so she can get comfortable wherever she wants. This is a room that's got several chameleons in it. This is our veiled chameleon, Pascal, and as you can see, he's just dying to get out. Okay, like I was saying earlier in the video, these animals are just constantly trying to get out. He wants to get out so he can go over here and start harassing the panther chameleon. Alright, so that's Pascal. Okay, he's got some lettuce in there, which he hasn't eaten today. He's full grown. He's a nice, beautiful, veiled chameleon, and we've had him for a while. So he's great. So when he sees Bagheera, he starts flaring up and flashing his colors. So all he wants to do is get out now. He doesn't even want to go back in his cage. Alright, but that's totally normal. He's very tame. He's got quite a personality. Okay, so that's Pascal. So Layla is our Jackson Chameleon, our female Jackson Chameleon. I had to put her in here with the panther chameleon while I cleaned her cage. So he's still juvenile. He's still very young. Also, always wanting to come out. As you can see, very tame. So chameleons make great pets. They like people. You can tame them very easily, and I'll make some videos about how to do that. But as you can see, he's not afraid at all, and in fact, he loves to come out. All he wants to do is come out and climb up on my shoulder, okay? And then he'll walk around with me, and see, that's where he's heading, okay? So that's Bagheera. So he'll get up there. So Layla's up here, and she's a bit of a different story. I think she was a wild-caught chameleon. She was very timid when I got her. I've had her about a year. She was supposed to be pregnant, gravid. She never had babies, so be skeptical if you're going to buy an animal when they tell you it's pregnant. You don't really know for sure. She never had babies. Anyway, she's very timid. I got her used to me, and by feeding her by hand, but still, she doesn't like to be picked up, so she's not going to like to be moved. But we'll get her very gently. Okay, come here. All right, here she comes. So there she goes. She is a beautiful animal. No? Alright, so we're going to put her in here, into her new enclosure. Well, it's her old enclosure. I just cleaned it out. Okay, so there she is. We got her mister up there. And that's Layla. So that's how you set up a cage for a chameleon. As you can see, there's a bigger cage over here, and that's got Pascal in it. So he's our adult veiled chameleon. And this big cage, I don't know the dimensions right now. I think it's a bit small for him. This actually is more his size. I've got our panther chameleon in there now. He's crawling down my back. So if you guys have any questions about how I set these up, you can see I've got plants in here. These need to be cleaned. Okay, so but I've got two plants in here, an umbrella plant and a fica, or whatever you call that. And a lot of dead leaves in there. I got to get those out. But the live plants are great. They got to have that, in my opinion. And then some fake plants as well to green it up even a little more. But I got two live plants in here, same thing, a ficus and an umbrella plant. Looks like they need some water. Okay. Ray, can you put water in these plants? You and Mira. Okay. And put Bagheera back in his cage. Alright, so that's a basic setup for a chameleon. Now these, you notice they're all in the same room, right? And this room is also where I keep my roach colonies. Okay, so this room's heated to about 82 degrees, and then those lights provide the heat that they need to bask in. And it's you don't need anything fancy for the lights. And you don't really need to worry too much about the temperature. I take my temperature once in a while, but the fact is I have a good light up there that provides the heat, and then if they want to get hotter, they'll get close to it. If they need to be cooler, they'll get a little down further in there. I know I've got cooler temperatures down in here for my animals. Okay, when they get further down, it's cooler. When they get higher up, they get hotter. So I've got those heat sources there. That's the important thing. And then providing moisture for them. And I'll do some videos about how I provide the moisture, how I make sure they're drinking. There's a water dripper up here, and I use this all the time, and I'll show you how. And they drink right out of that hose. As soon as I put that hose in there, Bagheera knows it's water time, and he'll go get it. Okay, but I've got the misters going on too, so that provides water. But I make sure they get the water when I'm around by feeding it to them myself, or I'll run a dripper in a place where they can get it. So that's it for this video. I don't want to keep it too long. Chameleons are easy. As you can see, I've got 3 species in here, all in the same room as a bearded dragon over here. Okay, so if you guys have any questions about any of this, just write them in the comments. I'll get back to you. I'll make videos about anything you want to know as far as raising these reptiles goes. They're not as complicated as you might think, so don't be afraid of them. They make great pets. They have great personalities. Okay, so Good luck and thank you. If you like this video, like it, share it, and become a subscriber. Thank you.